Good morning. Yes, we are about to start. We are just waiting for the lecture money points, then we can start. So you can give us a few minutes, then we start. Connect. Good evening. We want to start, and before we start, I know we are seeing each other first time. And so it would be good to begin by a word of prayer, and then we can have some brief introductions. We have everyone in, and as the host, it would be good also to welcome you officially. So the technical team, are we live? Are we live? Okay. So we had Bernice to pray. She's on the way. Oh, she's here already. Bernice, kindly come forward and pray. Open by a word of prayer.
Good morning, everyone. You're well? Kindly rise up so that you can. Happy New Year. Okay, let us pray. Father, we come before your presence this moment. We want to thank you because you're great. We want to thank you because you've given us this day, oh God. We don't take it for granted that we are here. We are ready to do your cause, oh God Almighty, and we are ready to listen to you. We ask you to be with us, guide us throughout, oh God Almighty. And when we are done, we not forget to worship and glorify your holy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Bernice, and thank you everyone for coming early enough so that we can start. We are getting into introduction, and I want to do it in very simplistic manner. I'll do for KNDI, and I will ask Eva, of course, together with the director, to introduce. And before that, I want to officially welcome you to KNDI. This is Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitians Institute. It is an Act of Parliament created institute by Cap 253B. That is the Nutritionist and Dietitians Act. It is an agency that is classified under Ministry of Health within the Executive Order #1 of 2022 by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Ruto. We all know that. And this institute is set to regulate the profession and the professionals of nutrition and dietetics. At the same time, it also offers service. So the act is elaborate to include the two components. And in the service area, we have a service arm running with the institute's function, which is like an agent. It's called ATRI. And then we have the regulatory arm, which is spearheaded by the council, and again, all under the office of the CEO. So you are all welcome. It is cool inside here, though Machakos is hot. But if you go to the first floor, you will not notice that there's a sun and heat outside. And it also looks good. And as you can see, we have done the setting. We have done it ourselves. This is me and my team. No one has been hired to do that. So I hire them to help me do this. And it is fantastic setting. And your team, Raju, with the black ones you see in between, they came to do that. And we thank you very much. So I would want to introduce the council members, and maybe because of physical presence, we have already 5 of them. We are 7 of us. 2 are online, 3 are online, sorry. And the CEO as the ex-official member is present. So maybe our council members, if you can just stand up from where you are, we do the introduction ourselves. Yes. So this is council members. I'll start from this end. This is Professor Gordon Nguka. Professor Nguka is representing universities, and he's from Masinde Muliro University. He's also the chair of accreditation at KNDI, and he is a professor of clinical nutrition, clinical dietetics, and pediatrics physiology. So he's loaded with the science of clinical nutrition and dietetics. Thank you, sir. Then we have Peter Nda, who is also a member of the council and many other boards, including universities. Peter is an expert in finance, and so he is CPA Peter, also in our board to give guidance on matters of finance. Peter, I wanted to introduce you myself. Kindly sit. You will have time to talk. Then we have Madam Purity Chege. who is a member of the council in the accreditation committee and also is deputy principal KMTC Thika. She has been head of nutrition for many years at KMTC. She's representing the middle-level training colleges for that matter. And she has been in the council twice. So this is her final term. Thank you very much, Madam Purity. Then we have Ms. Judith Kobe, who is a clinical nutritionist and is practicing privately, also in the clinical field. She is representing Consumer Federation of Kenya in the council, that is COFEC, and she's also an expert in nutrition. So we welcome you very much, Madam Judith. Then we have Madam Bernice KNDI, who is a nutritionist and a private practitioner. Bernice is coming from Neo Nutrition, which is a private support for health facilities. And she's representing all the private nutritionists in the country. So 5 of them are there. Thank you very much. Then online, we have Dr. David Soti from the Office of the Director General, who is not able to come because he has a meeting at the ministry right away. And Dr. Soti is a medical doctor. He's also been in the council twice. This is his final term. And he's representing an office. So thank you very much, Dr. Soti, if you're online already. Then we have Madam Veronica Kirogo. Madam Veronica Kirogo is the Director Nutrition Services, Nutrition and Athletic Services in the Ministry of Health. And she is in charge of all nutrition support and capacity building for counties at the ministry. She's a nutritionist in a sensitive area, nutrition sensitive agriculture with a health background. So Madam Veronica, thank you very much. If you are online, maybe you can type there present so that we can have record. And finally, we have Dr. Evelyn Nigrikacha, who is also online. Dr. Evelyn is the chair of the Nutritionist Council, and she requested to stay and follow up from home. And finally, the CEO, Dr. David Okeo. Dr. Evelyn is a nutritionist, clinical nutrition, and she's teaching at Pwani University. So she is the head of department there. Then we have now Dr. Okeo, who is a public health nutritionist and an expert also in the same. Dr. Okeo is also a pastor. So you feel welcome, you are home. When you are here, the spirit moves around and you'll be at peace. Thank you very, very much, all of you. And you can clap for yourself before we start. We are here for a very noble exercise. And as it unfolds, the details of the legality, the details of service, the details of why we do this for humanity will come out. And we have a big, strong team here that actively participate in the review of food. And so we want to go straight to what brought us here. But before that, I want to invite the Pwani team, Mr. Raju, to introduce his team just before we start, the key people that are here. And then we can invite now the technical team to go. Or Eva, okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd want to introduce our Pwani team, introduced by Mr. Raju Malde, our commercial director. Thank you. I'm happy to be joined again by a modern trade team from our modern trade manager. And I want her to introduce her team. Thank you. We're also joined by our general trade, Polycarp. Thanks, Polycarp. Are you joined by Joseph Mbogwa, our production manager, edibles? Thank you very much. We're joined by our nutritionist, Nutritional, Noreen. You also joined by General Trade, Bernadette. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And I think we have a team represented, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Good morning once again. The nutritionist mentioned is just employed. I want to be sure, because we insisted that a nutritionist must be employed. And I think that's why they're shouting that we must get a nutrition. And that is a commendable. And also, before we go to technical, we also insisted that Pwani Oil becomes an internship center for nutrition, food science nutrition. And very soon, Terry, if you can hear that, you can then contact them later for that. So I want to invite Professor Nguka for the first presentation, which is technical from his desk. And that will be followed by Professor Abong. And then Professor Nguka will come back, and then I will conclude, then we can have the work done. So Prof, karibu.
Thank you very much. Good morning. We are now into real business. The rubber begins to meet the road. Okay. So as has already been alluded to by Dr. Keo, this is a technical team's report, and I will go through it verbatim. It's quite a legal process. If there is anything, we'll be clarify as we move on. So the Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitians Institute, as has already been communicated, was established by an act of parliament, Act number 18 of 2007, or Cap 253B of the laws of Kenya. The act provides for training, registration, and licensing of nutritionists and dietitians. It also provides for regulation of standards and practice of the profession to ensure effective participation in matters relating to nutrition and dietetics for related purposes. KNDI has a governance structure which consists of the council and management. The council is led by a chairperson elected in a manner that is specified in Section 5, Paragraph A, and develops policy to guide the institute's function, assisted by 2 statutory technical committees. And those technical committees include accreditation and disciplinary established under the Nutrition and Dietitians Act number 18 of 2007. The work of management is to operationalize the various policies and guidelines that are developed on a day-to-day basis, and that is led by the Chief Executive Officer. There are a number of functions, and I will take, considering the audience that we have here, I will take all of it so that everybody understands. I think Dr. Keo had already classified them into 2, regulatory and service. So A is to determine and set framework for the professional practice of nutritionists and dietitians. That is regulatory. B, set and enforce standards of professional practice and ethics on nutrition and dietetics. That is also regulatory. C, enforce a program of quality assurance for nutrition and dietetics profession. D, approve institutions for purpose of training persons seeking registration under this act. And E, research into and provide public education on nutrition and dietetics. Now from there, now I begin service. F, maintain the competence of members by updating their knowledge through publication, and conduct of continuing professional education. G, provide training for nutritionists and dietitians. H, design programs and methods for sensitization on suitable dietary and nutritional habits. And I, perform other functions as may be necessary for proper administration of this act. J, and this was under the amendment, working jointly with other bodies, participate actively in the review of food supplements, and nutrition supplements with the nutrition claims. Now that is the component that has brought us here today, the last, which is J. On the second part of this, I would like to talk about delegation of powers. Section 7 of the Act allows the council to delegate powers to the following. 1, the CEO, which is established under Section 9. 2, accreditation committee, which is established under Section 12 and 13. And 3, disciplinary committee established under Section 25 and 26 of Cap 253B, or of the Nutrition and Dietitians Act number 18 of 2007. So the purpose of inspection and matters of registration and certification mandate is here. We're basically to carry out the inspection in Pwani Oils Products Company Limited for possible endorsement of fresh fry original in accordance with Section 6J, which I had already read. Section 6J reads, working jointly with other bodies, participate actively in the review of food supplement, nutrition supplements with the nutrition claims. So under the miscellaneous provisions, I would like to quote that any person that markets food and nutrition supplements without analysis, certification, and registration by the council commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both. Now, that is not a component that is very friendly, but we are reading it, and that is not the reason why Pwani came. Pwani just wanted a safe product. The findings on the inspection standards are as follows. We had system value chain analysis. There are a total of 14 sections, which we will go through together with Professor Bong. These sections provide details of the findings on the 14 standards as required by the Kenya Nutrition and Dietitians Institute's inspection checklist for the food companies. System value chain analysis matrix are as follows. Standard number 1 is standard relating to site compliance for accreditation. We observed that the facility and equipment are adequate, the standard operating procedures are present, and their designs adequate to ensure good manufacturing practices. The equipment are maintained and cleaned to avoid contamination. So that's called everything 5. Standard number 2 is standard related to availability of reference resources. The production facility has access to online reference and resources relevant to nutrition, and some of them can be accessed by relevant personnel. It's however noted that the materials are not organized into a resource and that can easily be and quickly be accessed by personnel. There was also no evidence that the personnel were trained on existing reference and resources for services. So the company, in terms of recommendation, was to establish a reference and resource room or platform accessible to all staff. And the staff should be trained on the use of the same resource center that is provided. So that actually scored 4, but once it is done, it will move. So it still meets the qualification to move on. 3, standards related to utilities. The nature and types of utilities are those that are approved for food manufacturing, and there are adequate controls on utility usage to ensure no hazardous materials carry over to products or cause cross-contamination. Now that was meeting the standard, and it's scored 5. Standard number 4 was standard related to raw materials, ingredients, and finished products and storage. The company demonstrated good warehousing practices and observed FIFO, first in, first out concept in the use of raw materials. So that again scored 5. Standard related to production of food. The company has proper equipment layouts and material flows, and each equipment has corresponding standard operating procedure. The product quality control department has relevant qualified personnel, with exception of qualified food science nutritionists. Now, this has since, I think, been done. It was recommended that the company involves a food science nutritionist in its product quality control to validate processes and final product on the basis of critical nutrition claims. That's called 4.8. So far, I think so good. We have just seen a nutritionist. That's why Dr. Keo was talking about shouting the good things out. Marketers understand that very well. 6, standards relating to packaging, labeling, and delivery of products. The company demonstrated compliance with standards requirements related to packaging, labeling, and delivery of food products to the consumers. The packaging and labeling ensured the safety of the products while meeting the legal aspects and communicating to the consumer. So, and we're able to see the package very well, and that scored 5. So it's complete. Number 7 is standard related to quality assurance activities. The existing quality assurance plan has relevant details of quality improvement activities, and therefore that scored 5. Standard number 8, it's standard related to quality control activities. The company demonstrated existing standard operating procedures related to its quality control activities and has designated personnel responsible for quality control activities. It was also noted that the company demonstrated its quality control plan, reference, and service that meet the correct practicing standards. There was compelling evidence of regular calibration. So we had no reason to deny you any mark, and that scored 5. Standard related to quality related events, QREs. There were standard operating procedures addressing the investigation, documentation, and resolution of quality related events, and steps to avoid similar quality related events. Example were corrective and preventive actions, CAPA. That there was a demonstration that the standard operating procedures were being followed, and that when appropriate or required by law, the regulation and quality related events were reported in time, and we were able to see that. So that was well done, and continue in that direction. Standard related to quality improvement activities. The company maintained trends, that is standard number 10, related to quality improvement activities, including communicating quality improvement activities to customers when appropriate and applicable. So that was okay, and scored 5. Standard number 11 is standard related to personnel on site. The plant has adequate personnel who are qualified for food processing. The personnel are fully on PPEs to ensure personal hygiene, that is personal protective equipments. The existing standard operating procedure are adequate to protect the personnel on matters of occupational health and safety before, during, and after the process. There is need to include food science nutritionists in the quality control value chain and during food processing. So that scored 4.5 by that time. But I hope now we'll be seeing how the new personnel will be integrating into those areas. 12 is standard for standard operating procedure documents. There are existing standard operating procedures which are accessible to all personnel. The standard operating procedures are in safe custody, so that's code 5. Standard number 13 is standard related to the implementation of standard operating procedures. The plant has in place standard operating procedures for orienting and training new service personnel, including assessment of competencies. However, the implementation of value chain lacks critical personnel with the nutrition competencies to back up nutrition facts and well-being on the health claims levels. Now that is already being corrected. And so that's code 4 at that time. We had said that additional standard operating procedures specific to nutrition claims on label should be developed, that nutrition personnel should be engaged either on full-time or part-time to back up the claims through continuous improvement when necessary. So we hope this one is PP. Okay, or whichever. Standard number 14 is standard related to marketing, labeling, and nutrition claims. And on that, the procedure for oil production details the procedure that is involved at various stages of the process value chain for that matter. This includes control of critical steps, packaging, flow diagram, and a copy of complete batch manufacturing record. The final product specifications are within acceptable limits of physical, biological, and chemical parameters. However, there was no evidence of stability data to demonstrate safety and consistency in quality in line with shelf life. Now, I think that was being corrected. It's scored 4.5 at that time. And based on that, a lot of analysis were done on a number of products. The same product was sent to various labs. And now I want to call Professor Abong to take you through the analysis that this product went through. Professor Abong, welcome.
Thank you very much, Professor Nguka, and good morning, everybody. I hope I'm not too short to be blocked by this. You know, Nguka has got height from the lake or South Sudan. Nice seeing all of us here. Maybe just a matter of introduction. I am a food scientist by training. I lecture with the University of Nairobi as an associate professor of food science. But I also sit as the current national chair of the National Technical Committee on Edible Fats and Oil. The same portfolio I hold in the East African region. So when, and of course, I'm engaged by KNDI more often when it comes to food industry matters, and that gives me some more value out of the university. All right, but KNDI is, of course, a professional organization, which we take with all due respect and regard. So when I got a letter to accompany this group to Pwani Oil, then I said, this is my line. I was happy to reach there, and just to take you through the report in this section is that we looked at the products that were coming out of the value chain, and of course the processing of, we call them generally lipids, because you have got the fat when it is solid and oil when it is liquid. And I don't know whether I will want to focus on Okeyo or Ngoka. For many years, you have been drumming, take liquid, liquid, liquid. And then now, some science is coming up that even the saturated one, which is naturally occurring, still healthy for the heart, so long as it is not created by the human beings. All right. And it went so much so that the ones that used to be solid are now liquid somehow in the supermarket. They changed the processing, of course, under the different processing. So looking at fresh fry, which is a product used across, the product chain process is, of course, I cannot describe it in detail. But if you look at the process, you have crude oil coming in, and that crude oil undergoes a refining process. Basically, it undergoes the refining process. And once you do the refining process, which will take you through different levels, then you have got a refined palm oil, which contains approximately 50% saturated fats, made of 44% approximate, of course, palmitic acid, 5% stearic acid, and some traces of myristic acid per unit measurements. So for those who of course have interacted with fatty acids, then you will realize that the key one which has been drummed for health is oleic acid. And if you look at this kind of palm oil, it still has 44% approximate. And of course, the unsaturated fatty acids are approximately 40% oleic and 10% polyunsaturated linoleic. And of course, you have some alpha linolenic acid combined. So if you look at the initial process product value chain, we have the normal process where you get the palm, the crude, then it undergoes the different stages, whether you want to do degumming first or you go to the other processes until you have a palm oil that you can now say it is refined, and then you decide whether you want to do fractionation in the process. So the palm oil, of course, as we know it, has got two main parts. The stearic side, which is solid, tends to be solid and cloudy, and oleic side, which tends to be liquid when it is now fractionated. So fractionation, simply, you already have an edible oil, but you want to put it into the fractions that it has. So this, of course, when you do fractionation, then the liquid part will be majorly the oleic, the palmolein in itself. So that process is something available even online, so I will not belabor going through, but of course, these are things which are available. So if you do further analysis of which we did, looking at what we received, we saw that the refined part is approximately 50% unsaturated component of palm oil. And of course, this is labeled as palmolein and mainly made of approximately 40% oleic acid and of course 10%. So that is, I think, something that I have explained. Then we picked the product, both from there and of course from the market, because we wanted to ascertain that when we come to drum up support, that this is actually what we know. Being professionals, you do not want to be told that somebody paid you to make a noise. You know, like yesterday I was in the parliamentary committee on GMOs, and somebody later asked me, did they pay you to be there? And I'm like, for sure. Do they need to pay me to give us scientific information and facts that you can easily find? That is just how some of us reason. So we did a content analysis, and analysis was carried out in 3 independent and reputable laboratories. I think there were 4 laboratories, not 3. And these are analabs. We know Bureau Veritas, we know SGS, and we know also Polycon. And these are accredited labs that we took samples. And these samples were not taken by Pwani Oil. These samples were taken by us, just to be sure that what we are doing is okay. So these are very authentic. And when we looked at the methods, we of course analyzed the methods that they used to analyze. They are basically very approved methods, whether some used AOAC methods and others used ISO methods, and these were acceptable to us. And we only targeted things that we thought were relevant. That included vitamin A, trans fatty acids, copper, iron, lead, peroxide value, acid value, moisture content, fat content, and insoluble impurities, as well as heavy metal arsenic. And when we looked at this, we found that, for example, if you look at vitamin A, there is a regulation that controls this. For fortified vitamin A, it needs to range, if you look at it in milligram per kg, from 20 all the way to 40. And this was within the range. It's called 26. And then we have got TFS, trans fatty acids, which are normally seen to be the devil in the oil. Of course, we also know that trans fatty acids, which are naturally occurring, and you will find them in dairy products, because where they are mainly manufactured is in the rumen. The naturally occurring has got no problem, and it exists in trace amounts in the dairy products. But if you end up producing trans fatty acids as a result of processing, and how does it come? It can come because you are using high heat processes, which usually it begins to be affected from 150 onwards. And of course, when you go beyond 200 degrees Celsius, then the trans begin to be created. Because if you understand the fatty acid, the saturated, you have got the cis and the trans, so it can easily inverse. The naturally occurring, most of them are the cis, but if you subject the oil to very rigorous treatment, it can change the natural sense. But we also need to underscore that trans fatty acids also occur naturally, but the naturally occurring, mainly found in the dairy products, have got no issue at all. No issue at all. But if you create them because you subject the product to high heating, all right, and if you also create them when you do hydrogenation, where you are turning a liquid to fat, then that becomes an issue. So then the law caps it at 1% maximum. So they were generally not detectable, except in one lab where we detected about 0.4%. So we are quite safe with that. Then there are things we will refer to as metals. There were 2 heavy metals that were actually tested. By standards, it is lead that currently is left as a heavy metal to be tested. And that is even by Codex standards and Kenyan standards. But we went ahead also to check arsenic, and they were all within the standards. And then we looked at iron and copper. For Kenyans, you would understand, last year we had issues with these 2. There were issues which raised a lot of commotion. Now, copper, when you have it in trace amounts, it is desirable nutritionally. Again, iron is what you need, right, under normal circumstance. And so if it is existing in a food product, you would actually say this is a good product. But when it comes to oils and fats, because they are encouraged breakdown due to oxidation, then the standard caps them to a level. So if you look at copper, the scores were below the 0.4 maximum, and iron, they were below 1.5. And these measurements were done in milligram per kg. And then the other measure that we use to check how safe the oil is the peroxide value, because when the oil is broken down, then you get a lot of peroxides. So then if you want to see whether the breakdown is too much, then you just go for peroxide value, and of course acid value, which is measuring how much of the free fatty acids are in that oil. Then we did the test and found that peroxide value is set maximum at 10, and the highest of all the parameters of all the samples we tested was 9. And this was one isolated, others were 1.4, and so on. So we are generally okay with that. And then moisture content maximum 0.2, which is still within, and of course the fat content within, because we are able to get minimum was 99.5%, which is good enough. And then the impurities are set again within the 0.05. So by and large, colleagues, we looked at this product as a food product, and as a professional, I would say all the standards were within the specifications, whether you look at it from the national level or the East African level. And these are levels that are generally acceptable internationally. So with that, I want to then welcome Professor Nguka to give us now the nutritional relevance of what I've just indicated. Thank you.
So after deep analysis of Fresh Fry Original, I would like to take you through the nutrition implication of the items or the components that he has talked about. As he has already indicated, the major component in that is palmolein or oleic acid, for that matter. Now, anybody who has engaged with fats and in life, you know that oleic acid, linoleic acid, and linolenic, particularly linolenic and linoleic, are essential fatty acids. But more importantly, is that they are very critical in the development of the human. And that is what I want us to go through. All individuals over the age of 2 years require their supply of calories in the ratio of 50% from carbohydrates, or with no more than 5% free sugar, and 35% of the total caloric requirements should ideally come from fats. And that is one take home that you need to know. So it is wrong for somebody to say that you don't need fats. You need it dearly in your diet. And this is from science. 15% of the total caloric requirement will come from protein. Now those are, we call them the macronutrients, for those of us who are within the nutrition field. Now, fresh fry, which is mainly made from refined palm oleic, has a good amounts of oleic acid, as has already been alluded to from the analysis, which has modulatory effects and which are beneficial, and I will mention now from a professional perspective, to cancer risk, autoimmune and inflammatory diseases, besides to its ability to facilitate wound healing. You can take that as well. Oleic acid is commonly used to prevent heart diseases and reducing bad cholesterol. And by the way, we prescribe it in the hospital, for those of you who don't know. You'll take it in the form of omega. Doctors prescribe it. So now you know. Other fatty acids may come from diet or may be synthesized. Many studies have positively correlated essential fatty acids with a reduction of cardiovascular morbidity and mortality in infant development and cancer, as I've already alluded to, cancer prevention. Optimal brain and vision functioning, arthritis, hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and neurological and neuropsychological disorders. And to take you a little bit in class of pediatrics, within the last trimester and the first 3 months of life, you need this dearly in your diet. The linoleic, linolenic, and linoleic acid, even if it means supplementation. And that I say without fear of contradiction, that if you want to generate a quality baby, a baby who will not be a dunderhead in class, then take that matter seriously. Because it is during that time that active brain myelination takes place. So that can also sink home. Fatty acids are a major component of cell membrane structure. All our cells are made of fatty acids. They also modulate gene transcription, including the process of transferring your one character to the other. You remember the DNA, So that is an aspect which is critical. Functions as cytokinase precursor. And by the way, again, in sensing pain, or for you to be able to sense changes in your body, including heat and pain, there is a substance in your body called prostaglandins, which is responsible for that. In the medical field, we just cut that space using non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or anything called painkiller. What we do is to introduce paracetamol in your body to break the conversion of arachidonic acid into cyclooxygenase. And that will cut you from producing prostaglandins, and therefore you'll not feel pain. You think something has happened, you just cut that process. So you need these fatty acids to be able to sense heat, sense pressure, and even for your body to respond to adjustments around blood pressure. It is increasingly apparent that dietary fatty acids influence these vital functions and affect human health. While the strongest evidence for influence is found in cardiovascular diseases and mental health, many additional conditions are also affected. Problematic changes in the human diet's fatty acid composition have occurred over the last century. Cell membrane comprises, as I said, of large amounts of lipids, principally phospholipids made of 3 carbon glycerol backbones, that's top carbon, composition that contains saturated fatty acids, generally palmitic, 16,0, stearic 18, and oleic acid, which is monounsaturated. Generally, the position contain arachidonic acid, and I've already given you the arachidonic acid implication in our body. Without arachidonic acid, you'll not sense anything. That is what doctors focus on by giving you painkiller so that there is no headache. Now, that will not mean malaria is gone, isn't it? Malaria could still be thriving. So they have to give you that painkiller to stop the pain, but at the same time, treat malaria on the background using antimalarials. Now you can see. So to us as nutritionists, it is bad to actually take painkillers. It's not good because it solves your problem within a short time. Instead, you can now go for oleic acid and you'll be home and dry. So one exception that we have to talk about is breast milk, which places palmitic acid at 2 positions. Hence, in the absence of these essential fatty acids, individuals are likely to develop. One of the key things you will see with somebody who's not taking fat is dry skin, dry scaly skin. Yeah, you've seen somebody ukitoa nguo kenda hivi ni vumbi tu ndio inatoka. Yeah. Or there is something within our hair called dandruff. That is not anything. It is actually your skin that has dried up. Then you see it as dandruff. So when you see that, it actually reflects on low fat intake or below 35%, which you are recommended, and other related conditions. It is therefore necessary to regularly consume a diet that is rich in EPA, that is to ensure efficient bodily functions. We find this component available in fresh fry as one of the available dietary source of fat. And that is part of the reason why today we are endorsing this. Maybe when I noted EPA, I think many people may have a problem, isn't it? Unless you are in a class of nutrition. Yes. Who knows what EPA stands for? In fact, of course, scientists understand that. So we have DHA and EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid, which are basically coming from those essential fatty acids. And these are the reasons why we talk about this component of fats being essential for cardiovascular conditions. In our medical research, and those of us who are very apt in matters clinical trials, it is this that we use in controlling blood pressure and management of blood pressure. So in conclusion, the compliance level of Pwani Oil Products Limited stands at 94%. Actually, this has since changed to 95.42. 95.42. Moved from 94 to 95.42, and that was courtesy of the nutritionist. Yeah. So that is the compliance level as at we talk. I think it will be changed in the final report before we take it. As per the systems value chain process of fresh fry original, the fresh fry oil from Pwani oil is also meets the key quality and safety specifications, which we have already listed. And in that report, we have listed the specific ones. So whoever thinks that they are better scientists, they can challenge us. We are ready. So fresh fry oil is good source. Therefore, we are saying with authority that fresh fry oil is a good source of oleic acid and 2 essential fatty acids, which I've mentioned, linoleic and linolenic acid. It is therefore our considered opinion that all other key parameters are within the specifications and results are available for further endorsement with KNDI standard operating procedures. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the accreditation committee, together with my colleague scientist, Professor Abong. You can come up here, and CEO will now represent, because he's the secretariat to our council, pick up this legally as we move on to the next step of council statement. So Dr. K, or has one hand over this, and together we are only and council members are here.
Thank you very much, Professor Ngoka and team. Professor Ngoka, Professor Bong, and Dr. Kev, who is also a team member, both a scientist and a CEO. We are all colleagues from the universities, and now you know fat is not bad. All the problems we have with obesity have roots from carbohydrates, not fats. So the issue of don't put for me too much fat, I'm dieting. That is hot air. If you don't want dandruff, don't go and say, I'm looking for something that can remove dandruff. Just take fat. You will be clean with soft skin, like myself. I say. Thank you very much, Professor, and thank you, council members, for this, because it is our mandate, and we want to do it with rigorous science. And when we talk of value chain, we don't just say analysis. We look at analysis and the process, and we look at it from raw material to the end product, to the shelf, and to the person's handling. And I can assure you, when you go through the normal process of assessing the value chain, you will see a rigorous, stringent measures put in the production of fresh fry, including packaging. And I think that is something that the public need to know. These things on the shelf don't just go there. They have gone through a very, very rigorous process. So I would want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the eating of fat, 35 to 38% every day, and 15 to about 19 or 17% protein. And the rest you can give carbohydrates. And but if you want to be slim, then remove carbohydrate for a while, not just for a while, not all through, because you need energy also. Otherwise, things will fail. I read the statement. This is purely now a Lego paper we are reading. And I'm basing my reading also from the science, endorsement statement, and memorandum of understanding. I will only do the endorsement statement, and the memorandum of understanding is in-house. So that I'll just mention what is to be done. So I start from a preamble, which is important, just in case the members of the fourth estate would want to pick something from this. KNDI is created by an act of parliament to provide for training, registration, and licensing of nutritionists and dietitians, to provide for regulation of the standards and the practice of the profession, to ensure their effective participation in matters relating to nutrition and dietetics, and for connected purposes. And Parliament, in their wisdom, thought that this institute needs to be created for building confidence for the members of the public. The council is supposed to actively participate in the review of foods and food supplements under provisions of Section J in the amended version of the Nutritionist Act, Cap 253B, within Health Laws Amendments Act of 2019, and read together with Section J, 6J, and also 36.2. And I want to say that when we were coming up with this section, we discovered that there's a gap that is existing on review of foods, because the focus was on standards, but the expertise were missing from the value chain of food. For example, the Kenya Bureau of Standards will give us compliance in terms of conformity to maybe codex standards. However, they will not tell us whether it is toxic or detrimental to the human body. So when you see a diamond mark, it is not necessarily meaning that the food is safe. And that's why you'll get water with a diamond mark and still cause problems. Somebody needs to check the relevance to human physiology and body functions. And that is exactly why KNDI was created by Parliament. Now, the value chain we talk about is looking at all those. So KEBS are custodians of standards, and they can handle creation of standards if they don't have professionals. But if they know that professionals exist, then they need to wait and keep the standards and use the standards to check conformity with those standards. So they're not developers of standards, but custodians of standards. And we appreciate that when it comes to ISO certification and also approvals. So nothing is wrong with that. But now the council is here. Now our vision, as you have seen it, we can't stop mentioning this because this is for the chair and the team, an innovative regulatory institute in the provision of nutrition and dietetic services recognized internationally. We don't just do it for Kenya. We have products that come from outside Kenya, like let's say Unilever products and any others we have done before. They are not within the Kenyan boundaries. We regulate them. And how? We support them also. Therefore, the Institute provides an enabling environment for sustainable improvement of nutrition and dietary status of all Kenyan populations. If you tell public to stop taking fat because fat is bad, then you are killing Kenyans. If you tell a diabetic person to stop taking sugar, then you are killing a diabetic person. Yet we know that all diabetics, they're told, don't handle any sugar. It is not true. And Prof, you attest to that fact when they say that don't give them watermelon, and they're requiring that sugar. One of the members of parliament who is late was collapsing during our graduation. And what saved her from dying was the Fanta that we gave when she collapsed because of diabetic condition. She was hypo. And that means that what matters is who is regulating what goes in. It is the moderation that is important and not the substance. So we have read section 6E, which talks about research. We have also read section 6H, which comes up with programs and methods for sensitization on suitable dietary and nutrition habit. And what we are doing now is sensitization, telling people fat is not bad. Now, for those who suffer from diabetes, we reverse that with high protein, high fat, leaving out carbohydrates, and we call it keto diet. Now, also here, we are saying good fat at the percentage required, and particularly if it is polyunsaturated, and of course, the essential fatty acids, good skin, and good life and good smile. So purpose, KNDI in collaboration with Pwani Oils Product Limited Company planned, when we talk of working jointly, it doesn't mean we police. We do what we call self-participatory evaluation. So you participate, we participate, and we tell you what you have here is not good. And you accept, and if it is good, we say this is good. And you also accept. We engage in self-regulation of Fresh Fry Original. We have other products, but the focus is on the original brand to build customer confidence as part of research and education of the Kenya population and good dietary habit. And so to carry out an inspection of Pwani Products Company Limited, this is for possible endorsement with science or lens of science in accordance with section 6I, J, 13J, and 36.2. 13J we didn't mention, but in our act, it says that this institute is supposed to actively participate in the Committee of Food and Drug Authority. And because we don't have that committee now established, then the one that is existing is KNDI. So we do it with confidence because it has not been created. And so we also have section J, which gives us the mandate to review now. And so I don't want to quote section 36.2, which is offenses related to violating the process of certification. So I'll skip that, but I will say that for council to make a proper statement for the public, which may not attract any form of litigation. We have had the science, I will not repeat it, but I'll summarize. When you go to the food industry, that is Pwani Oil's product, by choice, or if you are accepted to visit there for cross-checking, one of the things you'll be sure with is 2 levels of fractionization, of fractioning. We have the side of oleic, palmoleic, and stearic. I know the stearic is used for soap making and other things, so nothing goes to waste. But the remaining part, which is pure oil, 99%, is palmoleic. And that palmoleic has good percentage of essential fatty acids that are required. And Professor Ngoka has mentioned that, Professor Bong has mentioned that, and I will not repeat the laboratory analysis. What I would want to say is that after we discovered that SGS and Bureau Veritas are not able to analyze vitamin A, Analab did, then we also still looked for other labs to find out if we can validate, and Polycon was brought on board so that we could get the exact values for vitamin A based on retinol, and it was within the limit. And so one thing that I would want to say is that sometimes when we talk of fortification, and I want to make this as now a serious public statement from the professional and to the policymaker, when we want to make a statement or regulations, we have to consider science. We don't consider market and who is looking for that regulation. In coming up with a regulation for fortification, which is mandatory, this institute responded and said that fortification must be targeted, which means you must know who you are targeting with fortification. So there's no blanket fortification. And so that regulation is a bad regulation, and that regulation can be reviewed further. And maybe this is what the council will pick up. So targeted fortification means that you add value to the nutrients to reach the level required for a particular purpose. Blanket fortification is where the government says it is mandatory that you have to fortify the oil. It's wrong because it's done by people who have not gone through science. And therefore they communicate to the public and cheat them and come up with the laws, and parliament approve them, and it becomes a bad law. And therefore it then produces a product that can injure some people who don't need it. If you are given a level of vitamin A and you get excess, what happens? Chances of high risk of toxicity is there. And that is something that we need to pick up so that when we come up with policy regulations, we say avail fortified, avail also non-fortified. I choose what I want. You don't choose for me to injure my body. So that statement needs to go to the proponent of regulations of mandatory fortification, because there's also a business lens of the gain and other people who are there. Having said that, I want to go to the summary. I will not get to the nutrition relevance summary on the research. Now, number 18, compliance level of Pwani Oil Products Limited stands at 95% as per the system's value chain process of fresh fry original. The fresh fry oil from Pwani also meets the quality and safety specifications. Additionally, fresh fry oil is a good source of oleic acid and 2 essential fatty acids, that is linoleic and alpha linolenic acid. The institute is therefore properly informed by the technical report that all the key parameters are within the specifications and results are reliable for endorsement of fresh fry within the certification, analysis, and registration framework under section 36(2). And so with that, this is the endorsement statement. We are saying that the institute has put into consideration the robust value chain methodologies applied to fresh fry original by senior scientists. When I talk of senior scientists, I'm included. If you want to know, get it from the Professor is a professor ahead of me because I'm the CEO here. Otherwise, I would have been ahead of him long time when I was if I was in the university. True or false? It's true. Because here we don't give people titles. Here we serve. But in the university, they give title. Dr. Bong, now professor. The other day was a doctor, now he's a professor. Now I'm coming back to the university and I want to pass associate to be full. I don't know which methodology you'll use, but now these are senior scientists and our council members. Professor Nguka is a senior clinical nutritionist with pediatric nutrition science. Professor Bong also is a food science technology, has taught many, has supervised many, and has published over 100 plus papers in peer-reviewed journal. You've heard, he's just said, Parliament was there when he was listening to him and thought he was paid. Why? He was talking about science, about GMOs. And I want to echo alongside this. GMO is not bad. And it will be a repeat of the same. Genetically modified food is not bad. The problem is the terminating processes. However, it is not bad. We have nothing to worry about. Now, based on this scientific backing from the senior scientist, and having considered the objects under the Kenyan laws, section 6J, 13J, together with the 36.2, the revised version of 2019. Fresh fry, therefore, qualifies as a product that can be sold in the Kenyan market for the Kenyan people. And therefore, this culminates to endorsement within the scope of CAP 253B. The endorsement shall be guided by a detailed memorandum of understanding signed between Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institute and Pwani Oils Products Limited. And we have the annexure for that, and shall take effect from the date that the MOU is properly sealed by signatures from representatives of both parties. It is very much detailed. So we have confidence to endorse this product and also stand by it and encourage people to take if they find it. And I didn't know what is in fresh fry until I found it is palm oil. I know palm oil, but not fresh fry, because that's a brand. Most of the time, companies use brand names, so you may not know what it is, but it's purely palm oil. And I went straight to look at what is the existence of unsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids across many other products. And I realized that they are as low as compared to others like sunflower, but the extraction process is easy. And also, this is the best for deep fries. That is what I got. And so I have confidence for this, but I cannot hesitate also to look at other products. So this is the statement we are making. And because of the accreditation committee support for the Institute, and so they take full mandate of accountability, including the scientists who have signed proper science MOA with KNDI, we therefore want to endorse this particular product. And this is how our endorsement would be after we have given Pwani Oil what to say something if they had, because we cannot move forward. Maybe they have had something which is making them tired before we move there. But we are going to have the director to come and, of course, be a witness also for the accurate inspection that was done and then subsequent analysis that were done. Mr. Rajul. Okay.
Thank you very much. In absentia, the chair of the Council of KNDI, the CEO, Dr. David, Governing Council members, KNDI officials, the Pony Oil team, invited guests, members of the Fourth Estate, guests present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Before I go into my speech proper, there are a couple of comments that I'd like to make on the elaborate work that Professor Guka, Professor Bong, Dr. Okeo have done. And I was part of the process that happened at our plant, so I recall the in-depth nature with which you and your team went through the entire process, right from raw material sourcing all the way to the finished product, and then the external testing, etc. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, what the Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institutes have reconfirmed and are endorsing today is a product that actually works very well for pediatrics, works very well for human consumption from a nutritionist perspective, as the recommendation just spoken about, 35% fat, highly recommended for various needs and uses. And most importantly, within fresh fry, the presence of two very important essential fatty acids. And I'm truly honored and feel very proud that you could pick up such nitty-gritty information, and I completely salute the process that you've gone through. So thank you for that. Thank you for the warm reception and hospitality. We from the Pony Oil team are elated by your gesture. This morning, I'm thrilled that one of our brands, Fresh Fry, has finally received a nod from the Nutrition and Dietitians Institute, signifying it as a quality and healthy product to be consumed by Kenyans. This follows on from our recent certification of ISO 22716 in our home and personal care division. As a producer of fast-moving consumer goods, we understand the importance of providing our consumers with healthy and nutritious options. And this recognition is a validation of our commitment to excellence, our clear understanding of serving our consumers' needs, understanding them, and providing those consumers with the right product that serves their needs. We are proud to be the leading edible oil brand in Kenya and the first of its kind to receive this recognition in Kenya. We'd like to thank you, obviously, from the bottom of our hearts for your support, Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institute, and for recognizing the nutritional benefits of Fresh Fry. We would also like to thank our loyal customers for their continued support and trust in our brand. Indeed, this is a huge achievement for our company, and achieving this magnitude of compliance is a testament to the high quality, nutritious products that we continue to provide. Ladies and gentlemen, he who has health and has hope, and he who has hope has everything. With this in mind, we do not take lightly the subject of health and wellness among our customers and consumers who form the heartbeat of our very existence. We understand the importance of healthy eating and are proud to offer an edible oil that meets that stringent standard set by the Institute and ultimately the need of our consumers. Friends, our team has worked to ensure that Fresh Fry is not only delicious, but also meets these strict standards set by nutrition experts. We are proud to be able to offer a healthier option to our consumers. Besides, it is our daily commitment to continuously look for ways to improve our products and services. Therefore, today's recognition shows our efforts are paying off, and it is an encouragement to continue to do more for our products towards meeting our consumer needs. To our team, the Pony Oil team, your tireless, dynamic, and meticulous effort towards meeting the needs of our customers has materialized into this memorable achievement that will now be synonymous with our brand. We applaud you greatly. To achieve a compliance level of this magnitude against 14 set KNDI standards for large food companies is no mean feat. Well done. We thank the production, the research, the design, the procurement, the supply chain, and all the teams involved in continually working to improve the collective standards of Pwani Oil products and the range that we continue to offer the Kenyan consumer and the regional consumer, but not limited to the entire backward supply chain and sourcing. Thank you for your great service. To our customers and our consumers, this earned KNDI certification or endorsement is a public vote of confidence in Pwani Oil's products, quality, nutritional value, and the adherence to the highest standards of recommended industry practice. With us, reaffirm our commitment to upholding these standards through continued innovation and intentional effort. This will be towards meeting your needs as our consumer, but also setting the pace for exemplary industry practices. Thank you for choosing Fresh Fry, and we look forward to continuing to serve you. With those few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Can we clap better? Now we want to go to very informal, how to do things. You know, endorsement is just a ceremony. So it is not legal to endorse. It's a nod we are making. The statement that is legal we have made. So endorsement is when I agree what is in the market is good. And we cut a ribbon and we celebrate. That's endorsement. So we will not make it very, very informal. But what I want to say is that maybe the one in charge of the marketing, I can get I can get one piece, yes, of the product. If Parliament gave us a duty, before they remove that section of the duty from the Act, we will still do it. And if you want to kill me, then you kill me for a duty that is already put and it's in black and white. Because if I don't do it, then I'm also violating Penal Code 132 for not implementing a law that you have been given. And so confidently, we are building confidence for consumers. So already the product has a KNDI logo here. We have the same for Weetabix, courtesy of the computer-aided design experts at Pwani. So they have done very well. We approved the design ourselves because we also have to see where it is put and why and what is being put on it. And we have a number of health claims on this, which we attest to the fact that the technical team have given us their verdict for. So this is the product we want to endorse. And the statement I would want to make is, when we are endorsing this, it's purely Fresh Fry original. I know there's Fresh Fry garlic that is coming, Fresh Fry ginger, but this is for purely original, just like the Weetabix original. And we have confidence to endorse it from having been advised by the committee, and therefore I will not take lead for this because the chair of accreditation committee is there and his team members from the council and support members. So we also know that we have accreditation committee members online, some of them who are watching, that can also support the whole process. So I would want to invite Professor Nguka, and Professor Nguka, you are at liberty to invite your council members, your colleagues, and I give direction on how we would want to do it together with the Pwani Oils team. I think sometimes when we go to training institutions to inspect them, we normally say that once we inspect you and give you a report, no question. And they always said this is a policy, no question. Because somebody will say, no, you didn't see my beaker, you didn't see my test tube, you didn't see my plate. It's not now there because the verdict has been made. Just like the Supreme Court, once they make a verdict, whether your elections are stolen, it is a verdict. Yeah. The only place that now that can be challenged is in the courts. And in our case, High Court is available So, Prof, if you were to go to court, it's you and your counsel, not me. So just come forward, and the Tupani team, those who are leading, can also come forward. Then I can give you the team. And my colleagues in management, Martin, and the people in the quality assurance. And let's just speak. We'll do it, make it very simple. Okay. So maybe I'll hand over this for Prof, and I'll sit aside. And once they finish, I will carry one of this and put in my office. I'll not take it home.
Thank you very much. I would also like the Pwani team, the Rajul and the marketing team, to come here. We want to cut this. And, we have the scissor. I'll do it. We have two gender within our council. This is a council activity now. And as Dr. K has put it nicely, is that it is now the council's time, after listening to science and jargons. Many people, but we are lucky because most of these people are scientists. Unless you're very lucky to have scientists here, so they'll have no problem with alpha linoleic and alpha linolenic acid. Myself, together with the accreditation team, my accreditation vice chair is here, and I to Purity. And we have other council members who are also members. We have here Judy Kobe, we have KNDI, and we have my brother, Peter Nda, CPA Peter Nda. CPA, this time around, the mathematics have moved from figures of money to figures of nutrients. I don't know, you'll convert them into money. But so we are going to do the process of endorsement. And I would like to also ask Professor Abong to also just stand up as a scientist and part of the science. So Professor Abong will come here. So we are going to do it together, witnessed by the council members, but we'll cut this together with Purity. So when we go to court, we'll be together with Purity. We don't fear courts, by the way. Whoever wants to go to court can go. But whoever can also go for science can also come for science. So we are both, we are ready. And I'm happy about this because we are not doing it for the first time. I remember we did it for Unilever, Roico, particularly Roico was very challenging. This is much easier. Roico, before the launch, the day before the launch, the amount of media outbursts that we saw was overwhelming, to an extent that some people wanted to go under. They thought the following day, the world will just be banned and everybody will go their way. But after the science, and we were here with a lady, a medical doctor reporter, what's her name? Mercy. Mercy was here. She was there. The following day, I think to date, I've never had. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether somebody went and stitched it because it is no longer existing in social media anymore. But I think I know the reason, and I was telling Professor Abong here. If you want to finish Kenyans, give them a document. Nobody will talk. That will be the end of it. And especially a document of science, that will be the end of it. Maybe you need a fellow scientist to come and challenge. So we know how to deal with them nowadays, and we are safe. So myself, together with my colleague here, backed up by Dr. Bong and the CEO and the council members, will be led by our team here. Come and cut. So, yeah. I'll do it together and you will see. Yes. Okay. So come around. It must be here. Okay.
Okay. Maybe another okay. So we are going to endorse fresh priority with the house claims. There you are. Yeah. Signing and sale. We have a dogs. Thank you very much. Once you see it. So maybe for how do we do? Three or four. Thank you very much. Can we have support us here? Okay. Good. Thank you very, very much. I would want to, for purposes of formal, what we have done is informal, but I now want the director for Pwani Oil Products Oil to hand over this to me, because I'm the one who will be in court. So officially, yes. Okay. Thank you. So I will keep it in my office. And anytime I can recommend it. Just like we do for ECO with confidence. Because that was a rigorous science and it brought us home. This is also going to be part of the value chain. And this product, if I get material, Martin, let me give the product reference number. This product is given a reference number on our website. You will find it after this, after we have completed the process. Just get me the report. Endorsement is there. So we do listing the endorsement statement. We do listing for products, and for Pwani, this is large food company. LFC is large food company 003, and this is product, and this is product number 1 of Pwani. So it's 0001, assuming that there will be 1,000 products you're producing, but this is 0001. So that is what will appear on our website. So if you find anything on the shelf which does not look like fresh fry with our logo, that is not what we have endorsed. But we can assure you that already there are products of fresh fry which are on the shelf before this production. So that will become also part of this process because it has already been validated by the process. So don't feel shy that now I only want the one with the logo. No, it's also the other one. They are all same content, except we insisted our logo must be in the current production because they produced it before we inspected. So that is our case. And with that, we have completed the process. And as I said, Pwani has no chance for questions. I think they're happy. They don't even have questions. Maybe we have to now do the last bit of it. This one is now CEO doing because I'm the custodian of all council materials. This is what we give as endorsement certificate. And how does it read? It reads authorization license, not business license. And in the context of certification, registration, and analysis. Now, at some point when we did the Weetabix, we saw in social media, people saying, where did they get the mandate from? Are they not doing KEBS work? Yes. If you read section 36(2), it talks about certification, registration, and analysis. As long as it is still there, the act is live. And this is Cap 253B, Pwani Oils Product Limited for product value chain endorsement of fresh fry original. Large food company called, I have mentioned that. Location is Kikambala, Kilifi, and the date is 20th of January 2023. The expiry date of this is 19th January 2027. It is reviewed after four years. Are we okay? Yes. So thank you very much. I will hand over this. We don't need to now hand over the certificate, but we can have it as a group photo with this. Before that, as colleagues, we don't work in silos. And so I've just seen one of my colleagues in the committee of CEOs walking in. He didn't inform me, but maybe he saw YouTube and say, let me rush there. And I would want to invite him. He's the CEO for Public Health Council and Technicians, Public Health Officers and Technicians Council. Mr. Yama, you can come and greet the people. You cannot leave here without talking. And he's very, very elaborate on matters of food safety also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okeo. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate the CEO, together with the board of Kenya Nutritionists and Dietitians Institute, and Pwani Oil for this momentous occasion. And let me also take this opportunity to greet all who are taking part in this process. Good morning. I have the privilege to attend this very important meeting and the launch. I am the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer of Public Health Officers and Technicians Council, which works very closely with KNDI when it comes to regulating products on food quality and safety. Because entirely it's public health, the quality of the food determines its safety, and the safety of the food determines its quality. And therefore, we are proud to be associated with this process. And we also hope that because quality improvement is a continuous process, it will not end here with the launch of this product. I am sure that we'll also have colleagues who will be conducting routine inspections from time to time. And I want to thank the management of Pwani Oil for taking this chance to have your product approved. But I also want to challenge you that let it not end here. Because then from this moment, you are probably going to have impromptu inspections from KNDI. I know that will happen because we've had instances in this country previously where after the endorsement has been granted, then now you find that for every 1,000 products, there's only one that complies with the standards that have been endorsed. So because of that, I know there will be an implementation framework, not to intimidate, not to monitor, but to ensure that the quality that has been approved here is continuously upheld as we move forward. It is in the best interest of our country, it is in the best interest of the organization, and it is in the best interest of Pwani Oil because of your clients, the corporate image, and the reputation that you hold out there. And I also want to extend a hand that one of these fine days, in the spirit of collaboration and working closely with the KNDI, we will also have a chance perhaps to visit Pwani Oil and to see how the process runs, to see what are some of the issues that have been raised. And you know that we are concerned as a country, particularly in the Ministry of Health, because of the increased incidences of non-communicable diseases. And part of the NCDs actually emerge out of the food, the processing, and the consumption of the food. So besides the element of just food safety, there's also the disease burden that we need to work from. And there is a lot of misconceptions out there. Every time people talk about fats, oils, the carcinogenic components. We are talking about the bonds that form these oils. And then there is need for consumer education. And I want to believe that this is the first level of consumer education. So as Professor Nguka was making his submission on how science has gone into this, it's a very good thing because it's actually going to inform this process from a scientific standpoint. But then that information cannot end with the scientists. That information must be disseminated with Kenyans because then they are going to be the consumers of this process. So part of perhaps what Pwani Oil and together with the KNDI and together with the Ministry of Health in general is to ensure that there is also consumer education. Let Kenyans know what that endorsement means. Let Kenyans know how they are actually going to benefit by them consuming products that are endorsed as opposed to those products that are not endorsed. That is when we are actually going to make progress as a country, and we are going to be very proud that we have actually made a step in ensuring that the food that we have, that we produce, and that is consumed from farm to fork is food that is safe, that is of high quality, and that promotes both business interests and the health interests in this country. So without saying so much, I want to thank you very much, even for taking time to attend this process. I also want to thank KNDI for inviting, Kenyans, because these are live coverage, and I am sure that Kenyans are now tuned to the YouTubes and other social media channels following up on this. And I also want to thank everyone who created time to be here. And together from Public Health Officers and Technicians Council, with our chair, Madam Bone Mwalenga, and all the council members, we want to join you in celebrating the endorsement of this product. Thank you very much and have a good day.
So this is what it means by working jointly with other bodies. That is what Parliament in wisdom was. And so Agri and myself, we have always been working like that. So we are closing this program so that we go to the photo session, and those who want to leave can also leave. We have food coming for those who are eating, and you can stay. Yes. So I hope you have enjoyed, it's not just endorsement, it's also the process. I hope we have enjoyed the process. And so I would want to hand over to the Kevin and team on photography, media, our members of Fourth Estate here, Cheriot. This is serious. I'm sure you cannot do anything in Kenya if you don't use government media. Other medias are there, but government media, is Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. I don't know whether the Voice of Kenya is still there. So we have come to the closure, and we probably may not close before 1 or 2 council members of KNDI say something. And so I would just want to take this chance, 1 minute each, to invite, starting with Peter, a comment, and then finally we'll end with Madam Banis, not Madam Basi, Madam Judith, to give a vote of thanks. So we start with Peter, then Purity, then Banis, then we have Judith. Peter.
Is it good morning or is it good afternoon? Still morning? Yes. Okay, very good. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, mine is just to congratulate all of you, especially Pwani. You know, I'm not scientific like the others. As my colleague said here, my fellow council member, I'm a numbers person. But it comforts me when I see organizations like yours inviting us and allowing us to basically broadcast or megaphone to Kenyans that your products are safe. Because I think, previous speaker said it, the safety of all the Kenyans, very, very important. The health of all Kenyans, very, very important. So I feel privileged to be part of KNDI and to witness this. And I hope that you'll invite us again so that we can endorse more of your products and ensure to Kenyans that your products are safe. Yeah, and my wish is to see you as an example of other corporations, coming forward and telling Kenyans that your products are safe, that we are safe, we consumers. Yeah, because sometimes we doubt a lot what we see printed on these labels. We really doubt, we don't know. But when our scientists tell us this is safe, then we believe them because we believe data in KNDI. We believe on data. So data is very important. Right, thank you very much and congratulations again for this. And I want to thank my colleague, Professor Nguga and his team for the rigorous work. We are not paid much, by the way, to do this. I want you to know that. Yeah, Professor there doesn't earn much to do this. Purity there doesn't earn much to do this. We serve in this council because we love Kenya and we want to support our institutions to basically do the best they can. So I just want to know this who came there didn't earn that much from. We don't even have the money at KNDI. I'm a money person, so let me talk money. Yeah, it's actually because of their passion. Yeah, and I want to say personally, one of the things that has inspired me when I joined this, because I was a bit apprehensive when I was joining. I think Dr. will tell you, Dr. Keo. But when I came into the council and saw my fellow council members, especially the nutritionists and dietitians, how passionate they are about food and safety and the health of Kenyans, it actually inspired me. And I think I feel very privileged to be part of that team. And I'm learning a lot, I'm learning a lot as a Kenyan and a consumer and not as a scientist. So I just want you to keep that in mind when you invite them, that they're doing this as Kenyans who care about the country, who care about the health of the Kenyans, not because they're motivated by anything else. That's the last thing I would like to say. Yeah. So thank you very much, Dr. Thank you. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Purity Shage, and I stand here not to say much because I'm team of accreditation. We are the people behind the scientists supporting them. So mine is just to congratulate the Pwani company and to call upon the other company to follow suit so that we consume food that are endorsed and that moving forward also, we'll look at partnering with even other activities. And I'm saying this for Pwani and other companies. I'm in training, and we train nutritionists and dietitians, and we always look for opportunities where we can take our students to learn, to see the process. And after seeing the process, they will then tend to understand what goes in endorsing and even making sure that Kenyans consume the right food. For the professionals, we are doing the right thing. We are in the right direction. Let's support the KNDI. They are actually guiding us to the right direction. And with those few remarks, I say again, congratulations.
Good morning once again. Bernice Kendi Mogo is my name. I'm in the private practice. I'm so excited, you guys that are here, and we are doing a very good job. Congratulations to our team, KNDI, and also Pwani Oil. You see, like when you're in the private practice, these are the kind of questions that we get. And one is, can I stay without oil? You know, and all the years we've been telling clients that you cannot live without it because you require the 35%, and you can never take fat-soluble vitamins without presence of oil. Do you believe that? Do you know why? Who will tell me why? We can learn a bit. We can learn a bit. You tell people to take raw carrots, raw broccolis and cauliflowers and the rest of the vegetables, and you're telling them not to add oil. Remember, most of the vegetables that we are eating, they have fat-soluble vitamins, so they require a presence of oil for them to be properly absorbed in the body. So Pwani Oil, thank you so much. We really appreciate, and in the private practice, you're really going to endorse these products and also enlighten the people more as we cancel them, because they need this information. So thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I was trying to check my watch whether it's afternoon or morning. It's morning. I would like to give a vote of thanks. And as you realize, a lot must have happened for us to be here today and reached at this point where we are endorsing fresh fry as a healthy product for human consumption. It takes commitment, it takes expertise, and you can see the accreditation team led by Professor Nguka. You've actually had the analysis that they have given. You've had Professor Bong give a very good analysis about the different types of fat. And he literally brought me back to intravenous nutrition therapy. Okay. And I sat there and I was asking myself, why can't Pwani Oils now think about extracting fat that is safe for IV infusion? Did you know? We import all this from Europe. There's no company in Africa that actually produces IV fat emulsion. If you can produce fresh fry, you can look from a clinical point of view. How then can I actually produce? And we have the coconuts. Most of them are from soybeans. Most of them are from coconut. And normally when we started introducing TPN into the country and to make a fat emulsion safe for IV infusion, we had to do a lot of training and a lot of reading and passing information to the medical doctors, to the nurses, so that it could be safe for them to infuse this to the patients. So you can see what KNDI is doing is basically picking part of this from the oral route. Okay, and I'm also glad to see the thorough work that has been done by accreditation team led by Professor Nguka. They literally went into every single bit and every worry for the common Kenyan. And just not from the basic knowledge, from the scientific part of it. Which type of fat are we consuming? What is the percentage of this fat and how safe is it for our consumption? How is the processing? Okay, how do you produce the trans fatty acids? So that was really, really, really good. And I would like to thank KNDI. They've come a long way, you'll agree with me. And they've said that they're going to face a lot of challenges. I'm sure they will, but maybe because of lack of knowledge. People do not understand what we do as KNDI. People do not understand how far we can go as KNDI. So maybe Dr. Keo, as I was standing there and seeing all this good work that has been done, I'm sure a part of your strategy is to see how to pass that information to the team, to the masses. Okay, and we'd like to thank you so much. It takes some commitment, some brains to be able to do what KNDI is doing and all the professionals within the nutrition forum. Okay, Pwani Oils, we thank you so much because it takes personal interest to be keen on what Kenyans are consuming. And I don't know if you only supply these products in Kenya or East Africa, beyond East Africa, lovely. So you see with accreditation with KNDI, this makes it very easy for you to benchmark and market your products all over the African region. And I'm saying this because I tend to have covered quite a bit of Africa. And I know Kenya plays a very strong role in Africa. Apart from South Africa, Kenya plays a very big role in Africa in terms of what we do, people want to copy. So this means what KNDI has done today has opened quite a bit in terms of your market reach for Pwani Oil. Thank you so much for this commitment. Thank you each and every one of you who is seated here. It's because of your passion and love for human health that you're here. May God bless you all. Thank you.
And so maybe before you leave the gate, this is a very peaceful environment. Probably you can just whisper to your neighbor when you're walking. That setting was very good. And we didn't hire the setting. We only hired the insiders to do the setting. So that is what art and craft does. And this is how KNDI has been doing things. With little resources, big name. And we want to really thank you, the technical team who were here, the KNDI staff. Here around this time, 12:30, we pray. So all members, the professionals, when they come, they also come and pray here. And we talk about God also, who is the Almighty. And we know that with that, we can do great things for Kenyans. So I want to hand over to the media team, and particularly for group photo. I don't know if Kevin is around. You can come. And the team that are from Pwani, we need to take one single group photo with a certificate, which we have, so that is for record for this exercise. Otherwise, the exercise is considered closed officially, and the endorsement process is closed. So we will only take photo and have maybe a few media briefs, as we had indicated, and that is it. And Banoriama, thank you very much for coming. I knew you had a meeting. I don't know how you flew here, but when I was telling you that I'm coming to Mlolongo and it will be 10 minutes, you thought it was not a prophecy. Now it is 10 minutes with the express road. And within a short time, you finish meeting and you're here. And return this to our ministry and tell them that food is safe. And we can always attest to that fact, you and I, and you know that. And in future, probably we may need to invite you to be part of the process, particularly on the value chain of safety. Thank you very much. So media team, and you can organize us. We will sit here and you tell us who comes what, when, and finish the business. The chairman.